Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings, and welcome to the Nintendo Shack podcast. I'm Elaine. This is Garret. Bex is not here this week, but we're going to hold it down like we did the last time that I was on.
We're going to keep it together.
We're going to keep it together. This episode is titled Reggie's Book is Ready. At least that's what we're going with for now. We change our mind all the time. So someone says something funny, episode title changes. This is what we do.
Yeah, I just put a random thought in there. It's like, you know what? That seems a little funny, right? I think people will get it.
Yeah,
I think so.
They might get it.
They might get
I
it.
should have just said, read the book instead of play the game. Read the book. So we'll talk briefly about the games we're playing. We got some news. We've got some questions. You know the format. You know the show. Let's do the thing. Hi, chat. Hi, listeners out there. Let's do the thing. Garret, are you playing video games?
Yes. I am playing video games. Outside of what?
Outside of work? You like living
outside of
life
work?
outside
Yeah.
Of work?
Yeah, I am. Actually, yeah. Let me tell you, being outside the PhD work, I'm glad those last 6 months was like a fade, like
blur.
I don't know,
just gone,
like a blur.
Doesn't exist.
Just like
not real.
I didn't know if I was sleeping or not. You know, it was very tumultuous time.
I understand.
But
I understand.
Yeah, I went through it. It's all good. But yes, I've been playing video games. Actually, you know, I've been saying this every week. I've been talking about it every week. Yeah, I don't know if the audience is tired of it. Listeners, let me know. Tweet at me at Blind Explosions. Like, stop talking about this stupid game and that Shin Megami Tensei 5.
You still haven't beat the game, Garret.
Okay, as Dr. Strange said, we're in the end game now. That's
I don't believe
where
you.
I'm at. That's where I'm at, though. I'm at the end game.
Okay,
I really am. I'm at the last area.
I want to believe you.
I looked at the playthrough. I read it like it was Elder Scrolls, man. I'm trying to figure out all the different pathways you get to go in the ending. But anyways, this ending, kind of, I don't know. It just kind of sucks. I don't know why they.
Ouch.
Well, okay, I don't know why they do this, but basically, this end area, you go out to 3 different specific spots in the map, and you don't know when you're just gonna get destroyed because you come into a certain level. And then I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to go through the same strategy of you're going from point A to point B. There's some monsters in between, stuff like that. No. They was like, okay, we're going to just throw this monster that's 30 levels over you and smash you to bits.
No.
So, yeah, this last area is just not paced properly. It's not the level design is kind of just obtuse. I think that's just the theme around this game, but the last area is specifically obtuse. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what to beat or not. There's bosses that are lower levels than the monsters, like regular monsters in specific areas. So it's just not placed properly, man. It's just, I don't know. I'm getting a little disappointed in this last area. It's kind of crazy.
Are you still? You're probably still going to finish it. You're still going to finish it. You can't stop.
Oh, I'm going to finish it.
You can't.
No.
Stop now.
I'm 53 hours in.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
This is coming from a Persona player who's like, oh, that's not a 100-hour playthrough. Okay. You got so much time left. You're halfway through the game.
It's half, basically. Yeah, it's half of Persona 5, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. This last bit is just a real stretch here, and I'm just trying to figure out where to grind in general. Okay, and I figured out there's 4 different endings to this game, and I am trying to get the secret ending, the 4th hidden. It's kind of the Fallout New Vegas independent way. How about we call it that?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to get that. And then I read in the guide, it's like, oh, you gotta have to beat this monster. You have to be like level 96. Elaine, I'm level 60 right now. And I'm like, oh god.
So you're about halfway through the game. I see.
I'm about halfway through the game. Yeah.
Oh man.
And basically, if you want to 100% this game, you gotta play it 4 times. You gotta
Ew. No. Mm-mm.
because what you get in the ending is like special monsters, and if you want all the special monsters like
Let me
in
tell
your
you a secret.
compendium,
You can see all the endings by going to youtube.com. That's what I recommend.
yeah, that sounds about right.
That's
No,
what I
I'm just gonna do one ending. I'm done. I'm trying to get the 4th ending. We'll see how it goes after after some subquests and bosses in the end area. But man,
Yeah. That's crazy.
it's kicking my butt more than usual.
Have you
It's
played
just
anything
what?
else, or is this game eating your soul? Like, is this the game that
It's
just
eating
eats
my
your
soul, but I've been enjoying other things.
That's good.
I actually picked up my first like Nintendo Switch Online game, like actually like playing it, not like
just like
dabbing with
fiddling.
it for one,
Yeah.
fiddling with it. This is like, oh, I'm into this game and I'm playing it, and Ryan would be very proud of me, Ryan Turford from the RPG Cave, because I'm playing. What? Oh, sorry, I got to get this right. This is Camelot, right? Shining Force.
Nice.
I'm playing
Okay.
Shining Force from the Sega Genesis one. I just want to make sure I get this
playing
correct.
A
Yep.
Sega Genesis game on the Nintendo Switch Online. That's weird still to me. That's still weird.
But it's Camelot too.
It's Camelot.
The people who made Mario Tennis Aces.
Not their best work. They've done better. Okay.
They
made better games.
You know.
They made
The
better
makers
games.
of Golden Sun. I've been really enjoying this. Yeah, I've been really enjoying this game. It's it looks. I'm very surprised how the OLED screen just really shines all the colors, like in everything. I love it to death.
Good.
I was like, I don't want to play my Retro Pocket. I want to play on this with the OLED screen. It's super beautiful, and I like the emulator in this. It's pretty handy. It's pretty save states and all. So
I like
and
that.
Organized as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways, Shining Force, guys, if you guys don't know, it's a strategy role-playing game made by Camelot, originally released for Sega Genesis. Now it's pretty much everywhere. You can play it on Nintendo Switch Online. You can get it in the Sega Genesis collection or whatever it is, either on Switch or wherever you want. And it's like akin to Fire Emblem a little bit. It's very heavy on unit placement and land because like trees and mountains can have more defense in others. You have specific characters with specific classes like bow. You got your swords and your axes. But kind of like the major difference between this and Fire Emblem is that this is like turn by turn, like you let a character go and attack, and there's no like opportunity to attack back, where like in Fire Emblem, like they attack, you attack kind of thing.
Right.
Battle with them. Yeah, no, it's just one attack.
Okay.
To another character, and then it's in random order. Like it's not
interesting.
It's not like all of you attack, then the enemy attacks. It's super random, actually. I think it depends on like speed type.
I was going to say it probably depends on a stat. Yeah. And it's probably like just speed or something like that. And they just pull from, just like I think Final Fantasy does this too often. A lot of RPGs do. Turn order is determined by a stat. Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't show the turn order at all. I think it's just.
So you don't know? Oh, interesting.
I have no idea who's going to be next. But it's like playing the first level, like first few levels. It really doesn't matter. It's kind of just straightforward of like, going from one point to the next, and you're just beating goblins and I don't know, dark elves and stuff like that. It's pretty neat, actually. It's super quick. It's super fast. Like, hey, here's your character, and you move, and then the AI, it just immediately moves back. Like it's super quick, and I'm glad it's like that. It's there's no slowness to it at all. It's a good pace. Good to a strategy RPG. So very, very fun. Elaine, yeah. So I recommend it. All the strategy RPG fans, Fire Emblem fans.
One I have not played. I might have to check it out.
Yeah, Shining Force and Shining Force 2 is also on Sega Genesis
Nice.
online. So yeah, check those two out. And then I got the stink bug for not stink bug. I got like the addiction for Far Cry 5.
So you went back to 5. You didn't go to 6. You're playing 5.
Exactly. Yes,
Okay.
because I want to wrap up 5 before I get
That's
into
right. You had
6.
started 5. Now I remember how this all went.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I love Far Cry 3. Far Cry 4 is fine. It's a fine game.
I think I feel the same way. I think ultimately I liked 4 better, but it's been so long since I played them both. It's hard. It's hard to say at this point. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and then 5, I don't know what it is. I really wanted to play an open world
Sure.
action game
Shooter.
with
Yeah, sure.
objectives, and
That'll do it.
because Shin Megami Tensei punished me enough. It
Yeah.
really kicked my butt enough. I'm like, I just need something that I just feel good.
I
And
feel
Far Cry 5
this.
makes me feel very good. It's just
It's fun to play. It's satisfying.
it's
Totally
very
agree.
fun to play.
Totally agree.
I love how like it's not that long of a game either. I'm so surprised. Like I went through one sitting, it's like that's 20% of the story. I'm like,
Yeah, if
okay.
you just mainline the story, it's pretty expedient. I mean, there's a lot to do. You could spend dozens more hours in that game if you
Yeah.
really wanted to, but you don't have to. Like, it's
Hmm.
pretty quick. It goes.
Yeah, so and it works totally fine on my laptop. My laptop is like not struggling at all.
Oh,
4K
nice.
60 straight up high graphics on my monitor. My
Fantastic.
laptop's a little engine that could. It's a good one. But it's hot to the touch when you play that game.
I was going to
Like
ask you about that. Like, I have a cooling thing for my laptop if I play games on it because it gets so warm. So
I have a stand for it, so and I don't touch it. I have an external keyboard. I have an external, controller or whatever.
Right. I use a controller often. Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I hope to play a little bit more PC games. Probably the next one is Death Stranding afterwards because
Oh, that game.
I do have I have the DualSense haptic feedback with it too.
Yeah, I bought a DualSense on PC for a couple of games because it supports that now. So I really like it.
It's
I love
kinda
that
crazy.
controller. It's wild, isn't it? It's a great controller. Love it a lot.
I was playing this morning and I just hear the motorcycle in my controller. I'm like, oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Like I'm still playing Horizon Forbidden West. Like I actually returned full time to playing
Yeah.
that. I think I will probably finish it in the next week or two, probably the next week.
Mhm.
And so many little things come through the controller on that. And it's wild. And like I will play a different system for a while and finish a game and then go back to the PS5 and like completely forget about all that feedback, both motor wise and it's
Right.
insane. I'm like, oh, that's right. The controller talks to me. Oh, so
It's
yeah.
you just feel everything.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Mhm.
Anyways,
That's it. That's it for you.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
What about you, Elaine?
I still playing Horizon, went back to that, but before that, in the last 2 weeks, I both started and finished Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Nice.
And I had a really good
Congrats.
time with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I think I have mixed feelings. I really enjoyed the
Okay.
game as a Kirby game a whole lot. Loved it, thought it was fun, but I think I wanted it to be a more open world than it ended up being.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
it struck me watching it that I thought it was going to kind of be an open worldy thing, and it
More
really isn't.
open, yes.
It's not. You have singular levels, and they have lots of secrets, and it's cool to traverse them in 3D and all that good stuff. That's rad. But I guess I was like, oh, I wish this would be a full-on open world Kirby,
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
or like more like Mario 64-esque, where there's more hub world to explore. Like you get the
Yeah.
little town, but that's not quite what I want. So all things aside, though, I had a really good time with that game. It's adorable. It does get kind of challenging towards the end. Like the last couple boss sequences
what
are
I
not
hear.
as easy as there are items that you can pick up to make them, but the last like couple sequences of bosses were like a big difficulty leap from the rest of the game, which was pretty straightforward. So fair warning on that. So I loved it. It's still Kirby. Kirby's the best. And I love
Kirby
making
is
fun
such
of mouthful mode. So such
a cute little paintball that just changes to any shape you want, and you just go through the game.
I like being a vending machine and shooting soda cans. It's pretty fun. I
Yeah,
like that game. That game I can highly recommend. There's a lot there too. Like it's probably 10 to 12 hours just to play straight
that's
through it.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not bad. But there's a good amount of other stuff you can do if you're a completionist. So there's, quantity there if you need it. I liked it. I really liked it. I really recommend it.
Mhm.
So, and then I went down a rabbit hole of researching mechanical keyboard building and like
Oh my goodness, you went into
switches.
that rabbit hole.
I did because and it was like funny because I was like, I want a new mechanical keyboard. I wanted like a nice one. And I started researching, and my oldest child started apparently researching in parallel. And he came down to ask me a question, and I had like the drop.com's configure up, and I'm trying to like fiddle around with pricing things. And he's like, oh, you're into mechanical keyboards too? And then we ended up spending like days watching ASMR videos of like switch clicking. Like this is, and he was so excited that I was into it, and it was so cute. So that's my new rabbit hole. I haven't bought anything yet, but I'll probably spend way too much.
Are you wanting to get like the full like kit load, like the base frame, and you got the switches and then the cases?
Yeah, I want to get the base case with a good PCB in it and everything, and then the switches that I can put in, and then the caps. That's what I'm gonna do. Kind of buy a 3-part.
I try to look into that, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Video games are enough for me.
There's a lot there.
It's more than well, PC I think is more elaborate, but once you have a PC, you're good. Keyboards, you can just go
and then
forever.
you can just get tired of it and take the switches out and put new ones in. It's exciting. I'm like, oh cool, it's like Legos for grown-ups.
You can make it really is.
But very expensive Legos. Like you could lose your financial freedom over buying keyboards. So I'm gonna buy a keyboard probably soon. Whatever. The mistakes will be made, I will report back. So
I do like the keyboards like being made, like the finished product, because they look so sleek.
They do,
so
and
nice.
I like the way they feel. I'm a very quick typist. Like I type really fast, so I want something that I can bring back and forth.
Clicky?
Or I don't.
What's your preferred color?
I don't like the click so much as I like a good like fucky sound is the word I guess I would try to explain. But like I want tactile switches, so. There's a whole.
I have a tactile feedback.
So much. I can't do clicky. I have clicky, and they're annoying. So I'm gonna switch. But yeah, this was my week. I was like, what if I bought a $300 keyboard? And my girlfriend's like, why don't you? And I'm like, you're not helping. So I'm gonna buy a $300 keyboard.
I got this Keychron keyboard, and
those are supposed to be great.
They're great. This one was $80, and it was like white LED, and like. You have a button that changes from like many different animations of lighting, which is really neat. It's very compact. There's like no spaces around. I hate like when there's space between like arrow keyboards or like
I know what you mean. Yeah, this was the research. And I'm like, do I need a numpad anymore? Probably not. I don't use it anymore. I don't even use it for work. So it's like my kid and I have been going down the rabbit hole together, and that's been like really fun. So that was part of my week, but I finished a video game first. So I'm very proud of myself. I'm a big kid now. So
I'm proud of you finishing Kirby. When I was talking to Donnie about it, it reminded me a lot of like, this is a Kirby, but it's like, current action movie type of
that's how it feels.
Kirby.
That's how it feels. It was great. It's really fun. Don't let my criticism like stop you from playing it. I just think I wanted something like slightly more, but the levels are super fun when you're in them, and I liked it. So highly recommend. All right, that'll do it for what we're playing. Let's talk about the news. There's news. There's some news. There's last minute.
There's some news.
So Nintendo dropped in Japanese only at the current time a 5-minute trailer for the new Mario Strikers Battle League that's coming out. It's coming out on June 10. I'm super excited. I love Mario Soccer, period. Full stop. They revealed the roster. Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Rosalina, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Waluigi. 10. Waluigi made it.
Waluigi made it, guys. Oh my goodness. I can't believe they acknowledge that character.
I hate him so much. He's the worst.
They acknowledge him. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No. Damn it.
I'm gonna be all of Waluigi.
Apparently you can customize characters with equipment that changes stats and performance. That's cool. I kind of figured that from the way that the battle gear was shown in the trailers past, but also they're gonna do online clubs up to 20 players in online clubs, and you can battle against other clubs for points. Bex actually left a message, Rebecca, in the notes that says, "Will you guys be in an online club with me?" You know I will. Absolutely. I'm so excited about this game. Day one.
Day one. The trailer looked neat.
It does. It looks great.
Yeah. If you guys know, this is Next Level Games work. They made Luigi Mansion 3. I expect this game to be pretty great as well. And man, oh man, they got some animations down. They got the reflections down. They have the animations down. I am way more pumped about this game now after watching this trailer.
I've been excited about this since day one because like the GameCube Mario Strikers is one of my favorite like sports, like arcadey sports games like ever. It's great. And I wanted more of that, and the Wii version just didn't give it to me. So I was really hoping for that. So I'm excited about this. This will be out June 10, so soon. Soon.
Yes. They mentioned a little bit more their characters have unique skills. I saw one animation where you can bump another character and like to like push forward, like another ally like team, not like an enemy, like your team, and pushing it forward so they'll have much more closer to the goal line or whatever. So looks like there's some interesting combos going on in there. Rebecca in the chat, she's mentioning that there's only 2 girl characters, and she's right. There's only Rosalina and Peach
out of a 10-person roster. It's a pretty. I'm surprised by how stripped down the roster is. I was expecting more characters. So who knows? That could be they could just release an expansion. There's a million ways to sort of deal with that I could imagine that they would do at this point. That's kind of the cycle these days. So, but yeah, that is a little bit.
This seems like very bare bones. Plus Waluigi, that one, just I still can't believe that guy is in there. So
I Waluigi worst.
The last game he was in, it was Mario Strikers. No joke.
Worst. He's the worst. Someone slide tackle Waluigi for me, please. Just red card. Get him out. All right. There's more news. It's actually nice news week.
Yes.
Jeff Knightley's Summer Game Fest Showcase has had its date announced. It is happening this summer, June 9, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm hosting a live cross-industry showcase, game announcements, reveals, and Day of the Devs, is what Jeff said. Currently, there's only one confirmed specific game showcase, and that's the Xbox and Bethesda event. I believe that's happening on the 10th, I believe, right?
Okay, yeah.
Is that the 9th?
It's on Sunday.
It's okay. All right, there we go.
On a Sunday.
So the question that has been asked, well, first of all, I suspect that Ubisoft will have something, and we'll see the Mario and Rabbids at that. So if Nintendo does nothing, which they could choose to do, nothing here, which I don't think they're going to do anything directly linked to this. They'll do their own thing this summer at some point. They have too many games coming out in a short period that they're going to want to hype,
For sure. I'm wondering if they would do it that week, either before or after. Normally, they would do it after that. So E3, just imagine it's E3, y'all. I'm thinking they would do it on a Tuesday or Wednesday, June 14th or 15th.
Or the end of the month, which has traditionally been a thing that they have done before. But I mean, I think they can't not do something in the month of June, to me. G-Man actually asked this question. Do you believe Nintendo will have their annual digital event in June? I do, and it's because we have Mario Strikers dropping in that month, and then there's Xenoblade, and then there's Splatoon 3, and they have this lineup going into the fall that I think they want to showcase that and then show whatever new announcements they have for the holiday season. There's no way they don't do something in June, but I don't think it's this weekend linked to this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely not that weekend. I agree with you for sure. I'm wondering this will be the next event. Whatever Nintendo announces, it will be in the month of June. It won't be this month, I think. I don't think they'll probably put much more news beforehand either. Like it's just gonna be a next fill of games. I can imagine Splatoon 3 having its own separate type of direct.
Maybe closer to August, although that's
Mm-hmm.
confirmed and dated, so they might just tack a final trailer on with the last
Maybe.
features they want to highlight to this thing and say, cool, that's out in September. Let's go into the holiday stuff, you know? Maybe.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. Man, I'm kind of worried about Mario plus Rabbids. There's just absolutely nothing
I can
about it.
see that just being ready to go and go. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that Nintendo is leaning on Ubisoft to show it when Nintendo wants to show it. And
Okay.
you know what I mean? And if it's gonna launch,
Yeah.
it'll probably be in the fall. It's supposed to be this year, correct?
It's supposed to be this year. I fear because it's my pick. It's my number one pick of my fantasy critic league.
I really think October or November before Black Friday, that game will come out. That's an Ubisoft thing to do. And you have to remember that they're
and
the
that would be
publisher.
good for Ubisoft. Actually, Ubisoft needs some.
They don't
some
have an
hits.
Assassin's Creed this year, correct? So
Yeah.
this is like probably going to be their October, November fill. So if we're going to hear something about it,
Yeah.
we could hear about that at Ubi's event, or
Mhm.
Nintendo's thing after, or both. Ubi could drop
Yeah.
a trailer, Nintendo could show more features and give it a date. So
You
don't
remember the
stress.
first one when they someone leaked it.
Yeah,
Someone leaked
it
the
was leaked.
whole thing and no one believed it.
Right,
Everyone's
because it's
like, "What is
ridiculous.
this
Do you remember
stupid thing?"
Miyamoto getting up on a stage with the gun on his hand? It was
With
wild.
a literal gun,
Like an
like a
arm
Metroid
cannon
gun.
on his hand.
Yeah.
So they'll do it when they're ready. They'll do it when they're
Yeah.
ready. But I do think we'll hear something about that game in the month of June. That's my prediction.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, that would be so nice. Oh, I
but
can't
think
wait for
about the games that Nintendo has before that game, right? So they still have
Mhm.
Xenoblade, Mario Strikers, and Splatoon 3. They're
Those are
busy.
victory, yeah.
They're busy. They
And
got to
then
get that
you got
stuff.
Bayonetta. I think Bayonetta will hit.
I don't even think that's a real
Platinum
game
is
anymore.
kinda it's
I don't
Platinum's last hope. It's
I hate it.
like get that off and then let's figure out what to do next.
It's the worst. This is painful. This burns me. Why must you bring up Bayonetta 3? Why must you
Yeah,
hurt me
so
like
what
that?
else? What are the games that you think can be in that showcase? Like some new games for sure. Do you think any new games coming out later this fall,
I think Nintendo
perhaps?
needs something October and November. One of the two. They need a game before
They
the
need one
Friday
game
rush. And
separate from Pokemon for sure. Yeah.
Pokemon will come out. I think this Ubi game, this Mario and Rabbids game, will be the other game. Because the
Mhm.
first one did really well. So they
It
can
did.
lean on this second one in that spot. And they've already dropped Splatoon and they've already dumped the Xenoblade, and everything is the cards are stacked for them going into the holiday. So to
Mhm.
me, they don't need a
Yeah.
ton. They just need the Pokemon and one other game to go into the fall, and they'll be good money-wise.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think Mario plus Rabbids is at the point of like it's something akin to like a WarioWare type of popularity. Like it has some hype to it, but it's not like,
That
top
game
tier.
sold
Mm,
incredibly well. It
It
was
did.
very
Okay.
critically acclaimed. I could see this doing really well for them, especially because people are looking forward to it now, you know? We
Yeah,
might also get a redating of the Advance Wars collection if they choose to do so.
possibly.
Um,
Yeah, that'd be two strategy RPGs. I don't know if they want to get close to one another as well, but you could. You could because
yeah,
it's ready to go for sure.
yeah, that's true. Totally possible.
So
The other thing that we still, could end up with, and it's a pipe dream for me, is like a Zelda Wind Waker type of re-release for Switch
that's what I've been
collection.
hearing too. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. I don't know if I can't imagine them being in a twin pack. It's not. I mean, I know they're closer together in terms of like release date and like timeline. They're kind of just like adjacent to each other because they were on the Wii U as well.
Yeah.
But they're
I
just
don't care
such
if it's a
diverse
two-pack or
games.
yeah, I could see them filling their fall with something like that to grab people like
Hmm.
me who love both of those games and just want that fills the Zelda gap they've now left by pushing Breath of the Wild into 2023. They could.
That's what I've been hearing too. Yeah,
It's my pipe dream. I really want Wind Waker one more time. Go Wind Waker one more time.
I could see that being $60
Sure.
straight on
And you know
Nintendo
what? I would
Switch.
that is one of my favorite that is my favorite Zelda game. Full stop. So I would pay
Oh,
that.
you
And
Zelda fans will buy it too.
Oh yeah, I'll buy that.
Forget
That's
the
my
Steam
favorite.
Deck. Get it back on your Switch. Get it back on your OLED screen, Donnie. You know you want to.
That's the Wind Waker is my favorite, full stop favorite Zelda game, no discussion. So I would pay for that again. I would.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I would be interested in it for sure.
so that's where we're at. So we're gonna see what Nintendo does for the month of June. We got a little time. Got a little time. Sit pretty. It's coming. I'm excited
patient.
about Knightley's thing. I like games, and I'm sad that E3 isn't gonna happen. So give me the games. Let's go. You know?
Jeff, man. I mean, good for him of taking over. I'm not overly excited compared to E3. What it was
I don't.
right now.
I don't. I'm gonna say this. I don't really care, because here's my thing. I can get this news whenever these companies decide to drop a video release of this news and be very excited about the news. So I don't care if it's branded under Knightley's thing or E3. I just don't care. I just want to know what new games are coming out to get excited about, because I love games. So like, I'm kind of good without E3's pomp and circumstance, and just like, give me a presentation. Let's go. So I'm probably in the minority though.
I'm kind of tired of these. Also, I like Day of the Devs, the concept of it. I like the concept of indie showcase. I just think there's just so many now. There's just so many indie devs too. I know, and on top of the Day of the Devs, I think there's at least like 3 or 4 other major ones. And then I just hear people trying to make more. And I'm like, guys, like, I know you want to showcase the indies, and you're kind of just wanting to get their spotlight and get your, get a little bit of numbers there. But I'm getting really tired. I'm just getting tired of it. And I think I just look at now afterwards, when the indie game is released, what is the review, and is it my genre? Is it my price point? Stuff like that. So
that's fair. I actually think Nintendo gets my like gold star for how they handle indie showcases, their indie directs, because they do ask for dev input on certain games, and they do interview those people, and you get a little bit of that, and it's just enough. So that's the format that I prefer to ingest that stuff in, because it's super quick, and here's everything, and they do talk to the devs, and it's a little bit of everything. That's my favorite way to get that information.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Onward and upward, because he's tall. We'll talk about Reggie.
He's very tall.
Because he's up. That's a bad.
He's taller than me.
I'm out of practice, people. Okay. So Reggie has a book out, and it talks about a lot of things, but it talks about his time at Nintendo. I haven't read it yet. It's on my list. It's called "Disrupting the Game from the Bronx to the Top of Nintendo." There's a bunch of interesting facts here from the book. I will probably read this because I'm super curious. Because
me too.
A lot of people forget that he didn't start his life like deep in the wealth of an executive lifestyle. Like, he worked his way.
Exactly. I mean, his book is from the Bronx.
The Bronx, where he grew up, which was never a place of money and status. It was not. It still isn't in a lot of ways.
It's more of like the working, like, was a blue collar class. Like,
it's
a lot of people
neighborhood. Yeah, and that's and he talks a lot about that in the book, the way I understand it. But let's talk about the stuff that he like kind of drops about Nintendo.
Sure.
Like, just some tidbits. He fought really hard, and this has been tweeted and circulated recently, to include Wii Sports as a Wii pack-in. Miyamoto wasn't happy about it, and initially Iwata turned it down and said no. This was probably the best thing that Reggie fought for in a really long time.
That is probably the best business decision he fought for.
It's wild to me that he had to fight for that. So.
Well, I wouldn't say, like, okay, just think about it at the time. Like, the concept of pack-ins was kind of gone. Like, there wasn't the last pack-in was like maybe Sonic, right? Was Sonic a pack-in?
I'm trying to remember if the Nintendo 64 had a pack-in, and I don't think it did.
No. Nintendo 64.
I know.
Okay.
I know the GameCube did not, and I know the DS did not. It had like a demo thing. So, so yeah. So the pack-ins were had gone the way of the dodo, but like this particular system was so unique and new that I think if he hadn't packed in something so accessible to so many people, this thing might have not become the huge explosion that we know it as. So it was a really smart call, and I'm really glad he fought for that.
Me too. I wonder what they would sell it at then, because that game wasn't like, I mean, it was a cool game per se. I don't know if it was like a full game.
I mean, let's look at
I'm,
one. They sold 1-2 Switch for $50,
yeah, and I'm thinking Switch Sports the way they
which is
have it
also
now for
50
$40.
bucks. It's
Yeah,
It's
50
50.
bucks.
It's
Yeah.
50. So probably 30 or 40 bucks less. But let's see, what else do we have in here. He also thought the Game Boy Micro was a non-starter, but was forced to launch it anyway. I own one of the Game Boy Micros and I like it, but I also like don't sit and play it for long extended periods of time. But I do own one.
Tiny.
I like how
it's
tiny.
A little microchip.
It's a tiny marvel.
I want to read the story about this of why they had to force launch it anyway. Maybe because they were just like, we got a product, it's there, we
No, they
got
made
production.
it,
It's probably very little cost too.
They probably churned them out super cheap. I have a Famicom special edition version. I really love it, but
interesting.
Yeah, the other interesting tidbit about console launches here is he pushed for the 3DS to have a launch price of $199 instead of $249. And it was his point was like, there's not enough games and the market conditions are not such that we can launch at that price. So super interesting there. This last one is
Reggie knew that the price. Yeah. He was like, guys, it's not gonna. Well, I'm sure he would sell, but it's gonna be a burden to the consumer at $250.
Yeah,
and
he did, and I'm curious to read that story too.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this is super interesting. Reggie had a serious conversation, quote unquote, with Iwata about bringing Mother 3 to the West. It started with testing the waters by bringing Earthbound Beginnings to the West via the Wii U. It was on the Virtual Console, but it was hard and it was old, and the Wii U didn't sell well. So, and then Iwata passed away, so Mother 3 never happened, and that's all just like a domino effect of that. Mother 3 is a really good game for those of you who have not played it. So there are ways to play that game. Yeah,
Mother 3.
And one last one. Go ahead, Garrett.
Do you think Mother 3 will ever be in the light of a Nintendo Switch Online or any other form of Nintendo in general? We got Star Fox 2.
We did get Star Fox 2. We got Earthbound finally.
Yes.
And Beginnings also. And this game, if they're willing to pay people, has been fan translated really well. Like it's patchable. You can patch the game with a fan translation. A good fan translation. That's how I played it. It's exceptionally good. I would say it is not a 0% chance, but it is low.
It is low. Yeah.
It's just low.
The best chance it has is the GBA emulator, right? Mother 3 came out on the GBA?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It potentially has the best chance of showing up in Switch Online via expansion pack. That's the best place it has the chance to show.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I still think it's
2, Mother 3.
I still think it's incredibly low percent. I still think sub 20% chance of it happening. Period. Sub 10% probably.
Well, just keep it on your retro pockets, folks.
Oh boy. So Reggie was also asked, like, kind of in the course of interviews about the book, I believe, about the union busting activity that Nintendo has been involved in. There's a Washington Post article about this if you're curious for the details. And he said, and I quote, "It struck me, this isn't the Nintendo I left," which I thought was really interesting. I think the reason that the Nintendo he left was the Nintendo he left is because he left it that way. He did a lot of that work, and he's well loved for it. Like he really is. So.
Yeah, it was a good response, I think, to the public. Other than this, it was more like, hey, I wanted to create a healthy culture for employees at Nintendo, so they don't have to make unions.
Right.
Now, this union busting activity, it's still pretty small for Nintendo. Pretty small compared to like other companies that's going on right now in the US. But it's there. And it's just one complaint, but I'm hearing more rumblings of like, the stories from Nintendo of America office, just more of the lower tier employees, the contract workers. It's a very traditional workplace setting, and now the power's going more into the employee instead of the employer, and you're seeing a lot more unions being made, particularly with Amazon and other major companies. Nintendo's not going to be, resistant to that. They're
Mhm.
they're going to be faced with this issue,
Mhm. Yeah.
and they're going to have to deal with it. And I'm wondering how they're going to deal with it because they are a Japanese company. Their culture is like their work culture is much different than the US.
That's true.
And it's
That's
not
very
it's
true.
not towards the employee. It's like you work until you get your stuff done. And
Right. Yeah,
if
that's true.
that means it impedes your personal life, then so be it. If it impedes your sleep, so be it. So yeah,
True.
it's gonna be interesting to see how
Yep.
Nintendo handles unions.
Yeah, that's very true. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my lights to try to like
I could see
better
that
light.
in the
I'm
back.
like fiddling with it. His girlfriend's gonna yell at me so much. Okay, we'll turn the lights back on. That's better. There we go. Okay. Sorry.
Hello.
All right. You know what, Garrett? Why don't you take this next story? Talk to me about Breath of the Wild voice actors.
Sure.
What's going
So, a
on
Breath
with
of the
this
Wild
nonsense?
a voice actor shares details about a new character in the sequel, Breath of the Wild 2. I think his name is Pietro Ubaldi. The Italian voice actor for Derek was recorded saying he is playing a character in the upcoming sequel. It is a new character that is an ancestor to Derek, whose name he can't remember. He can only recall that the ancestor is a bit more serious than Derek. Could possibly be a Goron ancestor who piloted the divine beast 10,000 years in the past. So we're hearing a little bit of this voice actor. He is back to work. He is who is the voice actor for Derek, the Goron that we meet. Cool. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll do. I can most likely see this being like a flashback type of memory than
Maybe
anything because the
it could be that.
yeah
I am less inclined to speculate on that, as I am just glad that they're recording voice lines for this game that I would love to see
they're
happen.
still going.
That'd be great. It's like they went so dark, you know. Any tidbit of information makes me feel like they might actually still be working on this stupid game.
Yeah.
Um,
So okay, interesting. The guy is back to work at the game. But the
mhm, mhm.
So it's interesting that he says he's playing a character in the upcoming sequel, but is he still voicing Derek or is he just voicing this character?
We don't know. He didn't. That's it. That's all he
That's
said.
the other
This
thing
is
too.
why we don't know. But and Nintendo has not been forthcoming about what is going on in that game so far. So we shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see. All right, we have a little more Zelda information to discuss. Ocarina of Time has been inducted into the Strong Museum's Video Game Hall of Fame. It was added alongside Miss Pac-Man, Dance Dance Revolution, and Civ, second Zelda game in the series to enter the Hall of Fame, and it was after the original Legend of Zelda 2016, and there are 36 games in the Video Game Hall of Fame so far. I mean, look, Ocarina of Time is a really good game.
It is. Yeah, I played it.
It's well deserved. It's a great game. Like, yes,
Mhm.
all good games should be inducted into this. So, I mean,
I
you
mean,
know,
is
awesome.
I guess it's time for Ocarina of Time to get in there. Sure.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
put it in there.
absolutely.
Rebecca says she cannot cope how I pronounce Derek, and I'm gonna keep calling it Derek, even though it's
Why did you
probably
have to point this? Daruk.
Daruk. Is it Daruk? Okay,
I believe it is.
cool. That's
I enjoy that
that
she
goes
had
to
to
show you
point
how
this
much I
out.
played Breath of the Wild.
You pointed this out and empowered him. Stop that. He's just gonna do it
Derek.
more. He's like,
I'm gonna. This episode name is just Derek, but it's gonna be Derrik. Derek.
oh, may as well just call him Bob Garrett. Like, just
The Goron ancestor.
name Bob. It's just Bobby. How's it going, Bobby?
But how's it going, Bobby?
You're the worst. All right. So, last story here before we get into some questions from you folks. Genshin Impact is apparently still in development for the Nintendo Switch. The quote reads, "The Switch version is still in development, and we will release more information as we progress further along. I don't think they're going to make this thing run on that system.
Yeah,
Good luck, suckers.
Right.
That's not going to happen."
I can't believe they're still saying this.
I think they're just saying it. I think they're like, we're just going to keep telling them that, and we're going to wait for Nintendo's next system to launch somewhere in. Just ignore it; it'll go away.
They keep updating this game on PC and PlayStation. I don't know. Like, I'm sure they hit a technical difficulty on the Switch.
It's
I'm
not
just thinking
run.
they're gonna keep saying this until Switch Pro comes, and then
Correct.
like the Switch
This
you
is
know,
what
we'll
yeah.
transition from original Switch hardware up on
Right.
up, and you're gonna get exclusive games. It's just gonna be a transition, and they're gonna
Right.
be like, "Hey guys,
We had
yeah,
this
we're releasing this."
we had that Genshin impact. I
You
suspect they're
know,
just having trouble making it run.
I
It's
can
a
still see a multi-platform release with a Switch Pro happening if it just runs. Like, you know, you see games all the time, like Cyberpunk, you know, releasing on all platforms, or you know, even earlier like games between 360 and Xbox One.
Mhm, sure.
Um Shadow of Mordor is the one that comes to mind. Wolfenstein comes to mind, where the previous console looks like
Garbage.
heaping garbage, and
I think
then
it'll just
the new
run like
one's just
crap.
fine.
I think it's probably less
Yeah.
about how they can make it look and more about the frame rate that they just can't. Like, it's a pretty big game. Like, I've played it. I like Genshin. It's fun.
It
Um,
plays on phones just fine. Ugh,
the
I don't know.
phones have better chips in them now than the
They do
Switch does,
now.
especially their Wi-Fi chips, and it is an online sync to server type of game. Just saying. So,
Well, it kinda is. You download assets and then
I
you're
know,
kind of
you
placed in the
do,
world.
but it
But
still
yeah, I see
talks
what you
back
mean.
and forth to servers constantly because you can buy stuff. It's got,
That's true.
essentially a gotcha machine in it, so,
Mm,
um, for all intents and purposes, so alright, that is the news for the
that
week.
is the
That's
news.
not bad, we did it, we did games, we played, we've done the news. Garrett, will you take us through questions from our wonderful listeners? How about you do that? They're
Sure.
tired of
That sounds
listening to
great.
me
Yeah. Shaq, questions directly from you guys. Thank you so much for submitting your questions out on Twitter and Discord. We really appreciate you. We're going to start off with Yarden at Yarden Angel. And it's a simple question for you, Elaine. Is Breath of the Wild better than Ocarina of Time?
Not to me. Because
Okay.
the thing I value the most about Zelda games is, like, the dungeons, like, the crafted dungeons, and I think Ocarina has some of the best ones of those in the series for me,
Hmm.
and Breath of the Wild has, like, largely none. There's, like, the
Yeah,
beasts.
that's true.
So for me personally, for what, like, I really want out of a Zelda game, Ocarina I like better. So no. What about you, man?
Uh, Yarden, I'm going to say yes. I'm not going to give you an answer like why. I'm just going to say yes. I'm going to leave it at that and see how people think. Why do I say that Breath of the Wild is better than Ocarina of
It's
Time?
raising my blood pressure, y'all.
I
It's
just
so
want to see.
elevated.
I want to hear. I want to hear the audience answers on this. Like, tell me why you think that Breath of the Wild is better than Ocarina of Time. All right,
Garrett,
they're both good games.
why are you turning
They're
into this person? What are you turning into?
they're both good
Everything?
games. They're enjoyable. So
Oh
there you
boy.
go.
All
That's
right,
my chaotic
onward.
answer.
I hate this. Let's go forth.
Let's go forth. Okay. Brendan asks us, what was the last game that surprised you? Whether it's story, gameplay, it being in a genre that you never found, you enjoyed, etc. So what's the last game that surprised you, Elaine?
When I played the original Horizon
Mm,
Zero Dawn, the plot twist in the middle of that game actually caught me by surprise, and I was not expecting it. And it's
oh, okay.
relatively rare that I don't see where a game is going as it's getting there because, like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, most of the time, those stories are not written in a way that doesn't, like,
Mhm.
feed you it, but that twist was really, like, compelling, and it made me put my controller down and go, "Oh, no. What?"
Yep.
So, that would probably be the last one, and I played that relatively recently. I did not play it on its initial release, so it was probably a few years ago now. So, yeah,
Cool.
that one. What
No,
about you?
I really enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn when I played it, and I know the twist that you're
Mhm,
talking about. I think it was really cool twist
mhm.
as well. To me, it's definitely Nobody Saves the World.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Good answer.
I did not realize that game would take me by surprise how good it is and
Mhm,
how many ideas it has. I think Drinkbox Studios is a very talented developer, and their games, every single one of them surprised me
mhm.
all the time. And I shouldn't be surprised by now how good their games are. I think they're underrated. Nobody Saves the World is probably
It's a good
it is
answer.
my game of the year. It's my favorite 2D action game in my mind, like currently, like when I'm thinking
Nice.
about games in general.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure.
I do have one other answer, and it's like kind of a cheap answer, but I'll throw it in. Playing Fortnite in the no build mode was
Mm.
surprisingly fun for me.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't like Fortnite originally because the building was too much. It was just too many things to try to do on the fly. So playing it in the no build mode, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I really was. So I'm glad they left that
Nice.
in. Super glad that's
That's
in.
really cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. All
Onward.
right, so the Don Rob, if you could erase the memory of your co-host so they can experience one game for the first time, which game would you choose for them and why?
Remind me if you've played the Persona games.
I've played Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5.
I would probably want to erase your memory of 4 Golden and let you replay that game again.
Actually, I would like that too.
It's
I
special in a way that is
yes,
hard to describe, and you can't go back and not re-feel the feels at certain plot points that happen late
yes,
game and stuff, with a certain little girl. I would
yeah.
probably do that for you because I know how you feel about
Oh, thank you.
RPGs. They're special
Yes,
to you, so I think that would be the game that I would pick for you. That would be the one.
yeah. Persona 4 Golden was one of the RPGs that spoke to me. I realized there's something outside of Pokemon in terms of turn-based games that are enjoyable as well. Persona 4 Golden, I felt bad because I didn't get a very good ending to that one.
Oh,
I
then I
I
really want to
ended
erase it
pretty
for you.
early.
I want
Yeah,
to give you the no spoilers version of the thing that tells you how to get the good ending because there is
that would
a,
be a
a
good one to do.
yeah,
It's
there
like,
is a
hey,
thing.
here's the game, here's the guide for it,
Yeah,
and just
I want to be
go.
like this. Just take this page, and here's where you're going to use it because it's just a series of answers to questions essentially that you
Hmm.
need to make. So, yep,
Hmm.
yep.
Nice. I like it. Um, Remind me again, have you played Journey?
No, I never played
Oh,
Journey. I'm
okay.
like
You
one
gotta
of the
play
lone
Journey.
people who never played Journey, so I do need to play Journey.
Yes, that's one that really speaks to me. How about BioShock?
Yeah, the first BioShock I would
The
love to
first
forget.
BioShock, I will give you
Yeah,
all that and
I would.
play the remaster version
Yes,
on
and I have, and
PC.
it still holds up. Even on Switch, it still holds up. So I would love
Oh yeah.
to play that again and just forget it. Just have not know the twists and the oh man, that game is special. So special. So
Yeah,
special.
it's one of my favorite games. Playing it, it was so good. And it's
Yeah.
really good on Switch. Yeah, it
It
holds up
runs
for
really
sure.
well on Switch. I can like highly recommend it on Switch. And if people
Mhm.
have bought that collection, you should really play the BioShock 2 DLC, Minerva's Den. It's
Yep.
exceptional. It's exceptionally
So
good.
that is the people went off and made Gone Home.
Yep.
Yes, and Tacoma, which are
Yeah.
really good
Also
first
good
person
story.
simulator games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is
Gone Home
BioShock,
made me
but
cry. Whew.
Gone Home made me
It was
cry for some
yeah.
obvious probably reasons to some people. And I think that Tacoma was really compelling. Like it told a really interesting story and I like the way it
I need
did
to
it.
play that one.
You should
Mhm.
probably, I think you'd like it.
Mhm.
So
John 32 says if I was evil, I would choose SMT5 for Garrett. And oh my gosh, you are so chaotic, John 32.
You're
Don't
mean.
do it.
That's funny. Let's do it. I mean, what?
Just
I
want me
didn't
to torture myself.
say
And
anything.
Don Rob also says, I'm about 2/3 of the way through Nobody Saves the World at your recommendation and loving it. What was your personal favorite form? The one I really enjoyed the most was the bodybuilder form. The
I
bodybuilder
love that.
form is basically a tank. The basic attack is like you just drop a bench, like a dumbbell bench, and
I
just
love
in
this.
front of monsters, and it just explodes everywhere.
I love
He was so
this.
cheap too because he had this like twisty arm attack that like knocked out all these monsters, and every time you hit a monster, it like regenerates your MP, so you can just hit things forever. And like it was actually kind of cheap in some bosses, but yeah,
Love this.
absolutely love the bodybuilder form. He
That's
was
awesome.
hilarious. Yeah. All right. So, Ardith, is there a genre of games you enjoy despite not liking a major aspect of the genre? Example, I love role playing games, but don't care about the stories. That's a good
Uh
question.
it's fighting games for me.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't care about playing them online against real people. I'm never going to be good enough, so I don't care. So I actually like playing a lot of fighting games through for all the character stories they write and all the animations, because animations are so beautiful in fighting games. I love Street Fighter 2, and I'm good at Street Fighter 2. That's the only fighting game I'm actually good at. But I love them, and I'll happily own a fight stick because I love playing them, but I'm terrible at being competitive with them, which is kind of the whole point of them. And I don't want to engage with that at all. So that's my answer.
That's a good one. I like certain fighting games, but I wouldn't say like, hey, do you like the fighting game genre? I'll be like, I enjoy watching people play it.
That's fair.
I personally don't like playing a typical fighting game, and that's just because I can't do the combinations like Mortal Kombat and like Injustice. They're really well made games, and I appreciate them. But man, I just cannot play them to save my life. Ardith, I'm gonna have to actually agree with you on the role-playing games aspect. I love RPGs. I like RPGs because of the progression of the game, but I think a lot of RPGs are bogged down as I'm kind of like playing through SMT5. It's the pacing. A lot of the pacing in RPGs are off, and it really throws me down. Like I want to finish. I like to finish the game I'm starting, and especially when I'm invested so much time into it. And when you throw the pacing off so much, I don't like it much at all, even though I love the progression aspect of role-playing games and the customization and then the combat and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I would have to say.
Nice.
All right, last one. Kyle the Pug asks, if you took all the first-party Nintendo characters and put them in a dance competition, who would you put your money on to win and why?
I bet you Donkey Kong can break dance like a pro. I'm gonna go with Donkey
I'm sure
Kong.
he can too.
I want to see him do like the worm. I want to see him break dance. I'm going with
He
Donkey
skips
Kong.
leg day, man. His arms are just like
so he can just do
another
all
level.
those moves with his arms. He doesn't even need his tiny legs.
Pretty much.
That's my answer.
Rebecca says Waluigi. I was like,
I was thinking he would do a 6 Saturday Night Fever with the bell-bottom pants and everything. Some disco moves. He's probably got disco moves. He's probably got like dad dance moves. Yeah. The dad shuffle.
The dad shuffle. There we go. I got an answer, and it's Toad. I think Toad would break it down. I think he can do some moves with his mushroom capped head, like breakdancing and like spinning around
like
upside down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I could totally see Toad ranking up the competition. I think Luigi is an underrated gem. I think Luigi can boogie for sure.
I think Luigi's the type of dude who has to get inebriated to dance at a party, though. He's too nervous. He can't do it.
He's a very nervous man. Yeah, he needs a little booze in there.
Yeah.
He has so much character though. Like he's singing in Luigi's Mansion 3. Like if he's in the mood for dance, I could see him, owning up the competition. But yeah, for sure Toad would be my answer.
God, we're monsters. We're just monsters. This is when Rebecca comes back next week. She's like, I can't leave you two alone with this podcast.
He would yell with the rap beats too, or the music that's going on. Yeah.
He's the hype man on every rap track.
Yeah.
He just says yo, yo, yo at the back of every track. Oh, I hate it. I hate this. This is the worst.
This is lovely. And hey, we're done.
We did it. We finished a podcast. We didn't burn it down. This is the second time that Garrett and I have been alone together, and we haven't lit the podcast on fire. I even started and hosted the show without burning it all down. Thank you, folks, for listening to us. I'll be back next week with Garrett and Bex, provided nothing in life explodes, and we'll have the whole squad together instead of this.
Oh my gosh, the gang back together again. I love it.
Every day we shuffling, so we should be back together next week. Until then,
that's pretty much it, guys.
That's it. We did it.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely week. Bye.